I was eating breakfast with my mom and little sister when a dungeon appeared inside our Chicago apartment building and killed everyone in it. Everyone, except me. Emma had strawberry jam on her thumb. Mom was telling her to finish her eggs. I was laughing when the wall behind Mom turned perfectly black. Not dark, black. Like someone had cut a hole out of the world. The table split, the windows blew inward. Something huge moved on the other side, then white light swallowed the kitchen. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on a perfect circle of untouched floor at the bottom of a crater. Our apartment was gone. Our building was gone. Mom and Emma were gone. That was 8 years ago. Dungeons opened worldwide. Then people awakened with classes, levels, stats, and skills. Nations sent their strongest hunters through gates before the monsters could come out. Monster bodies became a new resource. Bone made weapons, hide made armor, blood became medicine, cores powered machines. Dungeons were disasters and billion-dollar mines at the same time. I spent years wishing I had been strong enough to stop one. Then I awakened as an F-Rank Salvager, a professional monster butcher, useful after the fighting was over. Which was why, 8 years after Chicago, a black hound landed on me, hard enough to drive one of its fangs through my shoulder. That hurt. The fact that it was still trying to chew through me was worse. I shoved both hands against its jaw while blood ran down my arm. Could you at least wait until I'm dead? Its head exploded. Warm blood slapped across my face. A black spear punched through the skull and buried itself beside my ear. Move. I rolled free. Mara Vale stood 20 feet away with silver white hair, impossible cobalt eyes, blood on one cheek, and a thin blue ring burning behind her head. The Blue Saint. S-Rank, national celebrity, and currently the only reason I still had a face. 3 more hounds jumped over the broken cathedral wall behind her. Mara did not even turn. She raised 2 fingers. Her halo flashed. All 3 monsters stopped in midair, then shot backward hard enough to break stone. Mara looked at the fangs sticking through my shoulder. You're the Salvager? Usually. The entire cathedral shook. A red window appeared in front of every surviving hunter.
Dungeon condition changed. Hidden floor found. Old rank. A. New rank.
Someone whispered, "Oh hell." The floor exploded. A black claw the size of a car punched through the tiles, grabbed an armored tank around the waist, and pulled. His upper body vanished below us. His legs stayed behind. Blood hit the altar. Then the whole floor collapsed. I fell through stone, bodies, weapons, and screaming hunters. I hit the hidden chamber face first. Mara landed on one knee beside me because gravity had apparently signed a separate contract with her. At the center of the underground hall, a 15-foot monster with 6 arms and white bone armor was eating the tank. One of our S-ranks attacked. The monster slapped him into a pillar. Then my left hand landed on one of the hounds Mara had killed. A blue window opened. I had seen salvage windows for 5 years. This one was wrong.
Target, Black Maw Hound. Level 38. Strength plus 41. Agility plus 57. Night Vision. Skill, Predator Step.
The 6-armed monster grabbed another hunter and tore him in half. Humanity had spent 8 years cutting monsters open for claws, organs, hide, and cores. We had been throwing away the expensive parts. I touched strength. Heat slammed through my arm. The window stayed open. I touched Predator Step.
Skill acquired. Predator Step.
Still open. My pulse jumped. No way! Mara stepped in front of me as the giant monster charged. What? I selected everything left.
Agility plus 57. Night Vision acquired.
Then, one final option appeared.
Levels available, 38.
I hit yes. 38 levels slammed into me. My spine locked, my bones cracked. The fang in my shoulder popped free as the wound closed around it. Something burned behind my right eye. Silver light reflected off the blood under my hand. Mara looked back. Her blue eyes widened. Your eye. The boss reached us. It swung one huge fist at Mara. I stepped past her and caught it. The impact shattered the floor under my boots. Every hunter around us was thrown backward. The monster pulled. My hand stayed closed around one finger. Then blue salvage windows flickered over more than 20 dead monsters around the chamber. Stats, skills, levels. My fear did not disappear. It got competition. Oh, I said. Mara stared at my hand. What? Then I smiled. We have been looting dungeons wrong. I bent the monster's finger backward until it snapped. It screamed and swung with another arm. Predator Step fired. The world snapped sideways. One moment, I was under its fist. The next, I was beside another corpse.
Strength plus 36. Agility plus 51. Bite resistance. Levels available, 34.
I took everything. Pain hit, but less this time. My body was already adapting. Keep it busy, I shouted. Mara did not ask why. She drove her spear forward. Her halo flashed, and the weapon hit with enough force to blast a white plate off the boss's chest. While it turned on her, I ran corpse to corpse.
Agility plus 44. Poison resistance. Strength plus 29. Skill acquired. Tendon spring. Levels salvaged 21. Levels salvaged 27.
The chamber changed around me. I can see into the dark between pillars. I could hear the surviving hunters breathing. I could feel exactly how hard my feet touched the floor. A smaller bone creature jumped at me. I punched it. My fist went through its chest and came out the other side. I froze as my arm buried to the elbow. The creature looked down at the hole. So did I. Then it collapsed around my arm. Mara glanced over while blocking a strike. Was that planned? No. Good. How was that good? It means you can do more. That was a deeply unfair thing for an attractive woman to say while covered in monster blood. The boss slammed 2 hands into the floor. 2 wounded hunters behind us turned black and dropped dead. The wave hit me. My skin burned. Then, a blue line appeared.
Poison resisted.
Mara saw it. You resisted that? I looked at the corpse field. I can do better than that. The boss charged. I charged back. Predator Step launched me under its guard. I hit it in the ribs. Bone cracked. The giant slid 30 feet. A hunter near the wall whispered, "That's the salvager?" The boss ripped a broken plate from its own chest. New white bones started growing underneath. Mara's face tightened. It regenerates. I looked at the dead elite creature near my boot. Its window contained one line I suddenly loved.
Acid gland.
I slapped my palm onto it.
Skill, acid jet. Corrosion resistance.
I took both. Heat gathered under my tongue. I nearly gagged. Okay, I officially hate that skill. The boss came at Mara. She stopped one arm, not all 6. Another fist caught her shoulder. I heard the joint pop. Mara flew sideways and hit the floor. The boss raised 1 foot over her. A corpse beside me offered 52 levels. For one ugly second, I wanted them more. Then I left the corpse. Predator Step snapped me across the chamber. I hit the boss from the side and knocked its foot away. Move! Mara pushed herself up with one arm. The boss turned on me. I spat a bright stream of acid into its chest. White armor smoked, then melted. The monster screamed. Mara stared at me. You can spit acid now? She slammed her dislocated shoulder against a broken pillar. The joint snapped back into place. Then she picked up her spear. Again. I looked at the exposed black flesh on the boss's chest. For the first time, it looked less like a monster, more like inventory. The boss charged again. Mara planted her boots and lifted one hand. Her halo burned bright enough to paint the black pillars blue. The monster slowed, not stopped, slowed. For the first time, I saw what strain looked like on Mara Vale. A vein stood out along her neck. Blood ran from one nostril. 3 seconds, she said. I did not waste one. Predator Step. The floor vanished under me. I crossed the distance and drove my acid-coated fist into the open wound on the boss's chest. Hot black blood closed around it. Something inside snapped. The monster's body jerked. Mara released her skill. All 6 arms moved at once. I ripped my arm free and ducked the first strike. The second clipped my back. Pain exploded through my ribs. The third hand closed around my waist. The world flipped. The boss smashed me into the floor. Stone broke under my spine. Air left my lungs. The hand lifted, then slammed me down again. Something in my side cracked. I tasted blood. A red warning flashed.
Bone damage. Regeneration, none.
That was a very useful reminder of something I did not have. The boss raised me again. Mara's spear punched through its wrist. Blue force exploded. The hand tore open. I fell. Josh! I hit the floor, rolled and saw another dead elite creature beside me. It had a thick black shell and 2 broken horn-like plates along its spine. I slapped my palm onto it.
Perfect salvage. Durability plus 63. Pain resistance. Bone density plus 48. Levels available 46.
I took all of it. My ribs moved, not healed, shifted. The cracked bone ground back into place with a deep pressure that made my vision blur. I screamed through my teeth. Then stood. The boss looked at me. I was beginning to think the eyeless thing could still somehow look offended. Yeah, I said. I'm getting tired of you too. It opened a huge mouth in its chest. Red light gathered inside. Mara shouted, "Move!" I did not. I had already seen what that attack did. Poison. My resistance had held once. The mouth fired. A red beam swallowed me. The surviving hunters behind the pillars screamed my name. For 1 second, everything was red. Heat rolled across my skin. My jacket blackened, my lungs tightened.
Poison resisted.
The beam ended. I was still standing. Mara's eyes widened. The boss froze. I could not help it. I grinned. Your turn. Predator step launched me through the smoke. I hit the boss under the mouth. The floor jumped. Its head snapped back. Before it recovered, I grabbed one lower arm and pulled. The joint fought me, then tore loose. Black blood poured over my boots. The monster screamed so loudly my ears rang. I swung the severed arm into its knee. Bone broke. The giant dropped. Mara came in from the other side. Her spear drove through the softened chest plate. Her halo flashed once. The spear disappeared almost to the shaft. The boss grabbed it. I grabbed the boss. For 5 years, I had watched fighters make kill shots while I waited behind them with extraction tools. Now I planted both hands inside the gap in its chest armor. I pulled. The white plates split apart. Flesh tore. The vertical mouth opened in a scream. Inside, behind a wall of black muscle, something red pulsed. A core. Not the dungeon core. The boss's. Mara saw it. Josh. I know. The monster swung blindly. Mara stopped the arm for half a second. That was enough. I drove my hand into its chest and closed my fingers around the core. It was hot. Alive. I pulled. The red crystal came out wrapped in strings of black tissue. The boss stiffened. All 6 arms dropped. Then the giant collapsed hard enough to shake the chamber. Silence hit harder than the fight. I stood over it breathing like I had run 10 miles. My jacket hung in burned pieces. Mara leaned on her spear. 7 surviving hunters stared at me. One of them said, very quietly, "What the hell are you?" I did not answer. A window had appeared over the boss. It was taller than I was.
Perfect Salvage. Target, Cathedral Devourer. Level 91. Available salvage. Strength, plus 188. Durability, plus 201. Regeneration. Bone Armor. Skill, Red Feast. Levels available, 64.
Then, a new line formed underneath. The letters were gold.
New salvage type found. Authority.
My skin went cold.
Authority. Feast of the Dead.
Mara stepped beside me. What do you see? I looked at her. This close, there was a cut under her lower lip. Her silver hair was stuck to the blood along her jaw. For a second, I forgot there was a dead nightmare at my feet. Then, the gold line pulsed again. Something new. I selected Regeneration first. Warmth spread through my ribs. The pain dropped fast. The cut along my back closed under the ruined jacket. Mara watched the blood stop. Josh. Still me. I took strength, durability, bone armor. The pressure inside my body built until my hands shook. I selected the 64 levels. Pain detonated behind my eyes.
Levels salvaged, 64. Warning. Body strain high.
The black ring inside my silver eye spun faster. I could feel my heartbeat in my teeth. Mara crouched in front of me. Stop. I am stopping. You are staring at the gold line. She was annoyingly observant.
Authority, Feast of the Dead.
I selected it. The world went silent. Not quiet. Silent. I could not hear Mara. I could not hear my own breathing. A cold pressure pushed through my skull and down my spine. Then the panel flashed red.
Body cannot hold this yet. Partial salvage available.
I chose yes.
Partial effect acquired. Salvage sense.
Every dead monster in the chamber flashed inside my mind. Distance, direction, a rough pull toward the most valuable corpses. Then something tore through the center of my chest. I collapsed. The last thing I saw was Mara catching me before my face hit the floor. When I woke up, she was still there. That was the first thing I noticed. The second was the white ceiling. The third was the fact that I was shirtless. The fourth was Mara's hand around my shoulder, while a medic pushed a pair of metal cutters through the torn remains of my field jacket. Hold still, the medic said. I am holding still. No, you are trying to sit up. I'm curious. You have a hole through your shoulder. Had. The fang from the first wolf was still lying in a steel tray beside the bed. The wound itself had closed. Only a dark red mark remained. He looked at Mara. Mara looked at me. I looked at both of them. Good news? Bad news, the medic said. You are making my job strange. I glanced around. Federal medical isolation room. Gray walls. Reinforced glass. 2 guards outside. My chest was covered in sensor pads. Mara sat close enough that her knee touched the side of the bed. Her combat coat was gone. Under it, she wore a fitted black armored shirt that left her shoulders bare. A dark bruise spread over the shoulder the boss had dislocated. I checked the bruise. Then I kept looking half a second too long. Her blue eyes dropped to my face. Finished? I was checking the injury. Of course. The medic snorted. I pointed at him. You are supposed to be professional. I am having a difficult morning. It is afternoon, Mara said. I looked at her. Please do not start doing that. The room door opened. A woman in an ivory military coat walked in while reading a silver data slate. She had a blunt black bob cut at the jaw, one wide white streak over the left side, and a thin amber hexagon floating over her right eye, like a glass target. She did not introduce herself. She looked at the screen, then at me, then at the cracked wall behind my bed, then back at the screen. Finally, she said, "You broke 3 testing machines while unconscious. That feels unfair to blame on me." Director Naomi Rook, Mara said. The woman nodded once. Federal Dungeon Authority. I had heard the name. Everyone in the industry had. Naomi Rook was the person they sent when a gate was too dangerous for normal rules. Apparently, I now counted as one of those. She held up the slate. Josh Voss, age 24. Awakened 5 years ago. Class Salvager. Skill Perfect Salvage. Combat rank F. She looked at the cracked reinforced wall behind my bed. There was a fist-shaped dent in it. I did not remember making that. Naomi continued. Current physical output cannot be measured. Why? The machine failed. That seems like a machine problem. It was rated for S ranks. I stopped smiling. Mara leaned back slightly. Naomi touched the slate.
Current level, unreadable. Combat rank, under review. Class, Salvager.
The last line looked almost insulting now. Naomi folded her arms. What happened in that dungeon? I looked at Mara. She did not answer for me. Good. I looked back at Naomi. My skill changed. Skills do not usually change in the middle of a raid. Mine did. What can it do? I paused. Even after living it, the answer sounded ridiculous. If it belonged to a dead monster, I can take it. Naomi stared. Take what? Apparently anything. Her expression did not change. The amber lens over her eye flickered twice. Give me an example. Strength. Another. Agility. For the first time, her face moved. Only a little. Mara saw it too. Naomi said, levels. Yes. From dead monsters. I looked at the dent behind me. Seems that way. That frightened me more than if she had shouted. Before she could ask the next question, the door opened again. A man in a white and crimson armored coat walked in without permission. Copper red hair ran down his back in one thick braid. His left eye was a smooth metallic gold with no pupil. Rhett Mercer, owner of Titan Edge Guild, the man whose raid contract had put me in Black Cathedral. His gaze moved from Naomi to Mara to me. Then he smiled. Josh, good to see you awake. That makes one of us. His smile stayed in place. Mercer walked closer. Titan Edge lost 31 contracted hunters today. I thought of Cole's legs on the cathedral floor. The humor left me. So did their families. Mercer's mouth tightened. Naomi said, "This is a secured federal medical room. Then you know you should not be here." Mercer ignored her and looked at me. There's a contract issue we need to settle. Of course there was. The world could change around certain people, and they would still smell money first. What issue? I asked. All loot pulled from a Titan Edge raid belongs to the guild until it is split. I stared at him. Mara's face went completely still. Mercer continued. If Josh extracted something valuable in that dungeon, Titan Edge has a claim. Naomi looked down at my bare chest, then at Mercer. Are you claiming ownership of his muscles? Mercer's jaw shifted. I am claiming the raid loot. Naomi tapped her slate. His strength is currently attached to his skeleton. I looked at Mara. She looked away before I could see if she was smiling. Mercer took one step closer. This is not funny. No, I said. The funny part was when your A-rank dungeon turned unknown, and you were safely outside. His gold eye narrowed. Mercer's voice dropped. You were contracted support. I noticed. You would not have entered that gate without us. And your contract did not save the people who died when it mutated. His face hardened. Mara stood. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. Leave. Mercer looked at her. The air in the room seemed to tighten. The blue halo did not appear, but I suddenly understood why people called her a national weapon. Mercer gave me one last look. This is not finished. I leaned back against the bed. He left. Naomi looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, Do you want access to another dungeon? Every part of me that had been exhausted woke up. Mara noticed. That expression is concerning. What expression? The one you made when she said dungeon. I looked at Naomi. When? After you stopped breaking medical equipment. That was not me. Naomi stood. Tomorrow. That was better than medicine. The next morning, I learned what my new body could do to a reinforced wall. Not on purpose. The Federal Dungeon Authority had a training room under the hospital wing. The room had been built for A ranks. Naomi insisted on a basic movement test before allowing me near another gate. Mara stood behind the safety glass with her arms folded. A federal tester pointed at a padded target 20 feet away. Walk to it. I looked at him. Walk? Yes. That's the test? Start simple. Fine. I stepped forward. Predator step activated. I hit the wall behind the target. Shoulder first. Concrete cracked. I slid down and landed sitting on the floor. Silence. Through the glass, Mara covered her mouth with one hand. I pointed at her. You are laughing. I am checking my lip. You are a terrible liar. The tester stared at the wall. Naomi wrote something on her slate. What did you learn? I asked. That this room is no longer rated for you. 5 years as an F-rank. 1 dungeon later, I'd had cracked a federal training room by walking too fast. The next gate was only B rank. Naomi called it controlled. I called it disappointing. That feeling lasted until the first monster came through the floor. The gate opened into a dry canyon filled with red stone and dead trees. Federal hunters formed a loose circle around me while Mara walked at my right side. She had changed back into her combat coat. The blue lining flashed every time the wind caught it. Naomi's voice came through the earpiece. Remember the rule, 1 property at a time. I looked at Mara. She really believes I'm going to do that? Mara kept her eyes on the canyon walls. No. Then why say it? Hope. The ground moved. A crack opened under the hunter in front of me. Something long and armored burst upward. The man flew 10 feet into the air. A second creature came out behind us. Then 5 more. Burrowers. Each was about the size of a motorcycle, with black shell plates and shovel-shaped jaws. The federal team reacted fast. Blades came out. A lightning hunter fired into one tunnel. Mara stopped a charging burrower in midair and sent it back hard enough to split its shell. Then the ground under my feet broke. A mouth opened below me. Predator step fired. I disappeared sideways. The burrower missed. I landed beside the corpse Mara had killed and touched it.
Perfect Salvage. Durability plus 22. Levels available 17.
Naomi's voice came through my earpiece. 1 property. I selected Tremor Sense. Every vibration in the canyon suddenly had shape. I could feel 7 monsters moving below us. 1 under the lightning hunter, 2 behind Mara, 3 circling wide, 1 much larger thing 50 feet down. 7 below us, I said. Mara glanced at me. You can feel them? Now I can. The ground under the lightning hunter cracked. I moved before it opened. Predator step carried me across the circle. I grabbed the man by his vest and threw him sideways. A burrower burst through where he had been standing. I punched down. My fist went through the top of its shell and buried itself in the body. Black fluid sprayed up my arm. The monster stopped moving. The hunter I had saved stared too. That was B-rank armor, he said. I misjudged it. Mara landed beside me. Again? Apparently. A blue window rose from the corpse.
Perfect Salvage. Strength plus 19. Digging Claw. Vibration Resistance. Levels available 18.
Naomi said, Josh. I selected everything. Sorry, bad signal. Mara turned her face away. Her shoulders moved once. I had learned what that meant. Then the larger thing below us moved. Tremor sense hit me like a drumbeat. Big one. The canyon floor erupted. A giant burrower came out sideways, not up. Its jaws closed around one federal hunter's legs. He screamed. The creature dragged him toward the hole. Mara threw her spear. It punched through the monster's upper shell, but the thing kept moving. I ran. Predator step. The canyon blurred. I caught the hunter by both arms. The burrower pulled one way, I pulled the other. His scream changed pitch. Stop pulling me! Good point. I let go with one hand and punched the monster. My arm went through its jaw hinge. Mara snapped her fingers. Her spear ripped free and flew back into her hand. The monster turned on me. I caught its upper jaw. This time, I knew my strength. I pulled slowly. The shell groaned, then split. The body crashed into the canyon floor. The federal team stopped firing. I put my palm on the dead creature. The menu appeared. I took Tremor Sense range. More durability. Levels. A shell hardening trait. The pain was there, but now it felt distant. My body adapted faster every time. Naomi's voice returned. Test complete. I looked around at the remaining monsters moving underground. No. What? You said test, I heard dungeon. Josh. I smiled. Give me 10 minutes. By the time we returned through the gate, the federal observers were no longer asking whether Black Cathedral had been an accident. They were asking how many dungeons I could enter in a week. I liked that question better. My official F rank was suspended that afternoon. The news did not stay secret. Nothing involving 43 hunters entering a gate and only 9 walking out stayed secret for long. Clips appeared online. First, grainy footage of ambulances leaving the federal site. Then names of the dead. Then a rumor that Mara Vale had not killed the hidden boss. Then my name. The backpack. People liked that part. For 2 days, every dungeon forum in America argued about whether an F-Rank Salvager had somehow carried an S-Rank raid. Titan Edge released a statement, calling the rumor false. That told me Rhett Mercer was worried. On the third night, I stood on the roof of the federal campus outside New York and watched a distant gate pulse above the skyline. The city had built a blue barrier around it. From this far away, it looked almost pretty. Mara came through the roof door without her coat. Her silver hair was loose. She wore a black training shirt and dark pants. No halo, no spear. Without all of that, she looked less like the Blue Saint and more like a woman who had not slept enough. She stopped beside me. You have been up here for an hour. I like the view. You have looked at the same gate the entire time. That is part of the view. For a while, neither of us spoke. For once, the silence did not make me want to leave. Mara looked at my right eye. The black ring inside the silver iris turned slowly, while I watched the distant gate. Does it hurt? She asked. Not anymore. What did it feel like when it changed? Like someone put a drill through my skull. She nodded. Useful description. I try. Her gaze moved back to the city. Why Salvager? I knew what she meant. Why had I chosen a job that put me inside dungeons if dungeons had taken my family? I could have lied. Instead I said, my sister's name was Emma. Mara went still. I almost stopped there. Then I kept going. She was 11. She hated eggs. Mom made her eat them anyway. The words felt strange in my mouth. I had not said Emma's name to anyone in years. I spent a long time thinking, if I had been stronger, maybe I could have done something. You were 16. I know. Knowing that is not the same as feeling it. I looked at her. Mara kept watching the skyline, but her voice had softened. I asked, why Blue Saint? She exhaled through her nose. Because someone took a photograph after a raid in Boston. My halo was active. I had blood on my face. The picture went everywhere. And you hate it. I hate strangers saying it like they know me. I smiled slightly. I thought you liked being famous. I like getting restaurants without reservations. That surprised a laugh out of me. You are the first person today who did not ask how strong you think you are now. I was going to. I know. For a few seconds, her hand rested on the railing close to mine. Not touching. Close. Then alarms started below us. Mara looked toward the stair door. I looked at the gate in the distance. My silver eye spun faster. Naomi's voice came through both our earpieces. New spike. A-Rank gate in Newark. Titan Edge withdrew after first contact. I looked at Mara. She looked at me. Mercer? I asked. Yes, Naomi said. And there are media drones already there. Mara pushed away from the railing. Try not to enjoy this too much. I have no idea what you mean. 22 minutes later, I walked through poison that had dropped 4 A-Rank hunters to their knees. The Newark gate looked like a dead forest covered in yellow fog. Titan Edge had entered first. They lasted 19 minutes before retreating. 2 hunters had severe lung damage. One was unconscious beside the gate when we arrived. Rhett Mercer stood behind the emergency line in his white and crimson armor. His copper braid hung over one shoulder. His gold eye tracked me as Mara and I approached. You are not cleared for this, he said. Naomi walked behind us. He is now. Mercer looked at her. His rank is not confirmed. Neither is the gate's current output. Then this is reckless. I looked through the gate. Yellow poison rolled across the other side.
Poison air. Toxin level. High.
My body answered with another line.
Poison resistance. Active.
I stepped forward. Mercer grabbed my arm. Or tried to. Predator step moved me 6 feet past him before his fingers closed. He turned. I looked back. You should work on that. Mara passed him without a word. The media drones crowded the federal barrier like metal insects. They could not follow us through the gate. They did not need to. Every camera saw me walk in without a mask. Inside the gate, the poison hit like hot metal in my throat. I coughed once. Then my resistance settled. Mara's halo appeared and pushed the thickest fog away from her body. Behind us, 2 federal A-Ranks entered, wearing sealed masks. One took 3 steps and dropped to one knee. I looked at him. Go back. He shook his head. I can. He vomited inside the mask. This time, he listened. Mara walked beside me through the yellow fog. You are enjoying this. I am enjoying breathing. That is not what I meant. A huge shape moved between the dead trees. The monster came at us on 4 legs. It looked like a bear built from black wood and swollen poison sacs. Mara raised her spear. I touched her wrist. Wait. She looked down at my hand, then at me. My hand was still on the Blue Saint's wrist, like she was any other teammate. She had not moved away. The monster charged. I stepped forward. It opened a mouth full of green fluid. Poison sprayed across me. I kept walking. My jacket smoked. Green liquid ran off my face. My skin did not blister.
Poison resisted.
The creature slowed. I grabbed its head with both hands. Momentum carried its body forward. My boots cut trenches through the dirt. Then, I twisted. The neck snapped. The monster dropped. A blue window rose.
Perfect Salvage. Toxin resistance plus 74. Strength plus 31. Venom Burst. Levels available. 29.
I took all of it. Outside the gate, the federal feed was watching. I knew because Naomi said, every camera in America just saw that. I looked at Mara. Was my hair okay? She walked past me. Terrible. We cleared the gate in 41 minutes. Titan Edge had lost the first room. I killed the boss in the third. By the time I came back through, the crowd behind the barricades was shouting my name. Not Backpack. Josh. Mercer stood near the command trailer with his jaw tight. A reporter shouted, "Mr. Voss, are you S-Rank?" I stopped. Naomi's voice came quietly through my earpiece. "Do not answer that." I looked at Mercer. Then at the cameras. "I'm a salvager." That answer spread faster than any rank would have. By afternoon, my federal file read,
Combat rank. Special review.
Rhett Mercer's public claim over me disappeared 2 hours later. The next gate did not give him time to try again. At 3:17 a.m., every phone on the federal campus screamed at once. A red alert filled my screen.
S-Rank gate instability. New York Transit Zone 7. Breach window, 6 hours.
Naomi called before I finished reading. "Get dressed." I was already standing. "What is it?" "A city gate." That was enough. I reached the vehicle bay in 3 minutes. Mara was already there. Full coat, spear, silver hair tied back for war. Her blue eyes met mine. No joke this time. Millions of people lived above that gate. And I knew exactly what happened when dungeons opened where families were eating breakfast. Transit Zone 7 sat under 3 subway lines, 2 utility tunnels, and enough concrete to bury a small town. The gate had opened inside a maintenance station at 1:02 a.m. By the time we arrived, the station was gone. A red oval filled the entire tunnel wall. Veins of light ran from it into the concrete. Every few seconds, the floor trembled as if something on the other side was pushing against earth. Hundreds of federal soldiers had sealed the surrounding blocks. Above us, evacuation buses were already moving people out. Naomi stood beside a portable display. She did not waste words. "The gate is growing." A map showed the red zone spreading through the underground tunnels. If it reaches the main utility line, we cannot hold it in one station. A breach could send monsters into 6 stations at once. "How long?" I asked. "Maybe 5 hours now." Mara checked the strap on her spear. "Team?" Naomi pointed at 8 people behind her, all S rank or high A rank. "No crowd, no speeches. Good." "Reach the core," Naomi said. "Kill whatever is protecting it. Stay together unless the dungeon forces us apart." I looked at the gate. My silver eye turned once. A blue outline flickered around the red surface. For half a second, it looked like the windows above corpses. Then it vanished. I frowned. Mara noticed. "What?" "Nothing yet." The gate shook again. A section of tunnel ceiling cracked. Naomi looked at me. "Josh, I'm going." We entered. The world on the other side looked like a city built by something that had learned architecture from organs. Red towers rose from black streets. White bridges arched between them like ribs. Dark liquid moved through channels beside the road. Far above us, there was no sky. Only a red ceiling that pulsed slowly. The gate behind us stayed open. For now. Mara's halo appeared. The team spread into a tight formation. I felt the ground through tremor sense. 40 or 50 ahead, I said. One of the S-ranks looked at me. "You can tell that?" "More behind the walls." The wall to our left burst open. A creature came through sideways. It had 4 legs and a human-shaped upper body covered in red plates. Mara's spear moved first. She stopped the monster in midair, then threw it into the street hard enough to crater the black stone. More came out. 10, 20. The road ahead filled with them. "Hold line," someone shouted. The hunters attacked. Fire rolled down the street. Lightning hit the walls. A sword user cut one monster in half. I did something simpler. I waited for the first body to hit the ground.
Perfect salvage. Heat resistance. Strength, plus 27. Levels available, 23.
I took all 3. Then the next corpse.
Red sight. Levels available.
Then the next. Then the next. The fight changed around me. At first, the S-ranks were killing monsters and I was taking rewards. 2 minutes later, I was killing faster than they were. Predator step carried me through the front line. I hit one creature hard enough to tear its upper body away from the legs. Another swung a blade-shaped arm. I caught it. Bone armor hardened under my skin. The edge snapped against my forearm. I drove my hand through its throat. A third monster jumped from above. Tremor sense had already told me where it would land. I stepped aside, grabbed its ankle, and slammed it into the street. Blue windows began appearing everywhere. Stats, resistances, levels, skills. I could not take everything without stopping, so I learned to choose while moving. Anything that kept me alive or made the next 10 seconds easier. The hunters noticed. One S-rank stopped attacking for half a second, just to watch me cross the street. Mara shouted, "Eyes up." A larger creature came through a white arch ahead. Its head was a smooth red dome. No mouth, no eyes. 6 long arms ended in blades. The thing moved fast. It cut through an A-rank shield, then through the hunter behind it. The man fell in 2 pieces. No one had time to react. The creature turned toward Mara. I moved first. Predator step. I hit it from the side. It slid. Not enough. One blade arm whipped around and opened my side from ribs to hip. Hot blood poured down my leg. Mara's halo flashed. The monster froze. Josh! I grabbed the wound with one hand. Regeneration turned on. The flesh pulled together under my palm.
Regeneration active.
The monster's body twitched. I looked at the dead hunter behind it. Then at the creature. Anger came fast. Not because I knew the man well. Because I knew exactly how normal people looked when something impossible reached them before anyone strong enough could stop it. I hit the monster in the chest. It folded around my fist. Then I hit it again. The red dome cracked. Again, the skull collapsed. I caught the body before it fell and placed my hand on its chest.
Elite spawn. Level 72. Skill, Regeneration lock.
I stopped breathing. Mara stepped close. What?
Skill acquired, Regeneration lock.
A cold line formed along my right hand. I knew what the skill did the moment it settled into my hand. Anything I struck with it could not heal for a short time. I looked down the street. That is going to matter. We kept moving. The city fought us for every block. At one intersection, creatures poured from windows on both sides. At another, the street itself opened and tried to swallow the rear team. Mara stopped falling stone long enough for them to escape. I salvaged a wall-crawling trait from a dead spider-like thing and ran across the side of a building to kill 3 monsters attacking from above. The first time I did it, one of the hunters shouted, "Since when can you do that?" About 8 seconds. The deeper we went, the stronger the monsters became, which meant the stronger I became. No normal raid plan could account for that. The standard hunter entered a dungeon with the strength they had outside. Maybe they leveled once or twice during a long raid. Maybe they found a useful item. I entered weaker than the boss. Then the dungeon supplied the solution, one corpse at a time. By the time we reached the central district, I had stopped feeling like the same person who had entered the gate an hour earlier. My body was heavier without being slower. Every step felt controlled. Every sound came early. The black ring inside my right eye spun whenever something valuable died nearby. The partial feast authority tugged at my attention every time a fresh corpse hit the street. You are smiling again. I touched a corpse and took another 32 levels. Am I? Yes. Sorry. You are not sorry. No. The street ended at a huge circular plaza. In the center stood the boss. For once, no one needed a system panel to tell us what it was. It was too large, 30 feet tall. Its body looked half human and half tower. Red muscle wrapped around ivory armor. 4 thick arms ended in hands large enough to crush a car. A crown of black horns circled its head. Behind it, a red crystal the size of a building pulsed inside a wall of flesh. The dungeon core. The boss looked at us, then tore its own chest open. I had never seen a monster do that voluntarily. Black tendrils came out of the wound and touched the dead creatures scattered around the plaza. Their bodies dissolved. Flesh flowed back into the boss. The wound closed. Armor regrew. My silver eye flashed.
Core Tyrant. Level 181. Trait, Titan Strength. Endless Rebuild. Warning. High Regeneration.
Mara read my face. You have something? I lifted my right hand. Maybe. The boss moved. The first punch hit the ground where we had been standing. The plaza broke open. Everyone scattered. Mara stopped a second fist in midair. Her halo screamed blue. The boss pushed against her skill. For the first time, I saw something physically overpower momentum lock. Mara's brutes slid backward. Now. The S-ranks hit it from both sides. Fire, lightning, steel. A sonic blast tore chunks from its armor. I came in low and drove Regeneration lock into its ankle. A blue mark flashed where my fist landed.
Regeneration locked.
The boss stepped back. One of the hunters cut deep into the same leg. The wound stayed open. Mara saw it. That works. Then keep making holes. The boss roared. Black tendrils shot from its chest. One wrapped around a wounded spawn body. The corpse dissolved. The boss tried to pull the flesh into its leg. Nothing happened. The locked wound remained. The monster hesitated. That was all the team needed. The plan changed. The others opened wounds. I made sure those wounds stayed open. Without Regeneration lock, the boss erased every good hit by rebuilding itself. With it, every hit stayed real. For the first time, the boss was actually losing. It understood that too. The monster changed tactics. Instead of attacking the team, it attacked me. All 4 arms came down. I dodged the first. The third hit my shoulder and drove me knee-deep into the plaza. The fourth closed around my torso, then squeezed. My bone armor trait activated under my skin, my ribs bent, one cracked, then another. Regeneration fought to keep up. The boss lifted me toward the mouth and its chest. Mara's voice cut through the noise. Josh. I looked at the dead spawn around the plaza. A blue window flickered at the edge of my vision. One corpse, small, almost nothing compared to the boss.
No larva. Level 44. Trait no blood. Resistance, authority pressure.
That last line mattered. I did not understand why yet. I reached down. My fingers barely touched the corpse as the boss lifted me. Perfect Salvage opened. I took no blood. Authority pressure resistance. 44 levels. Pain moved through me, then disappeared under regeneration. The boss squeezed harder. I pushed back. Its fingers stopped closing, then opened. I dropped to the ground. The boss stared at its own hand. I could almost understand the confusion. Every time it thought it had measured me, I changed. I jumped. Not predator step, just jumped. I cleared 15 feet and hit the boss in the chest. Regeneration lock flashed. The monster staggered. Mara's spear came from the side and punched through its left shoulder. Blue force detonated. The entire arm tore off. The boss screamed. Black tendrils reached for corpses. The arm did not regrow. I landed on its chest armor and drove both hands into a crack. The boss slammed me with one remaining fist. My side opened again. This time, deeper. For a second I saw white bone under the blood. Mara shouted my name. I did not fall. Regeneration pulled the wound closed while I climbed. The monster hit me again. I caught the wrist. Its eyes widened. I pulled. The arm came out of the socket with a wet tearing sound. Blood fell across the plaza like rain. The boss dropped to one knee. Mara landed on its other shoulder. Her face was streaked with black blood. Her silver hair had come loose. Her blue halo burned behind her. For 1 second, she looked exactly like the photo that had made the country call her a saint. Except this time, I knew the woman inside the image. She looked at me. 3 seconds. I knew what she meant. She raised both hands. Her halo expanded until it surrounded the boss's head. The monster froze. Completely. Mara screamed through clenched teeth. Blood ran from her nose. 1 second. I ran up the boss's chest. 2 seconds. I reached the black horn crown. 3. I drove my fist down through the top of its skull. Regeneration lock activated. Bones shattered. My arm went into the shoulder. The boss convulsed. Mara's skill released. The giant tried to move. I found something hard inside its head. A core. I closed my hand. Pulled. The monster went still. Its body fell forward. I jumped clear. 30 feet of dead boss hit the plaza behind me. The sound rolled through the living city. Then everything stopped. No screaming monsters. No moving streets. No red towers pulsing. Only breathing. Mara's, the surviving team. I turned toward the boss. The biggest salvage window I had ever seen rose over the corpse.
Perfect salvage. Target. Core, Tyrant. Level 181. Available salvage. Titan strength. Core, sight. Endless rebuild. Levels available. 103.
Then, the gold text appeared.
Authority, claim.
My pulse jumped. The first authority had nearly broken me. This one felt different. No blood moved cold under my skin.
Authority, pressure, resisted.
Mara came up beside me. You are going to touch it. Yes. You almost passed out last time. Yes. You have blood coming out of your ear. I touched the side of my head. She was right. That seems minor. Mara grabbed the front of my torn jacket. Not hard. Just enough to make me look at her instead of the gold panel. Josh. There was no joke in her face. I stopped. For the first time since Perfect Salvage had opened the hidden menu, I actually stopped because someone asked me to. What? Take the things you can survive first. I need you standing. I looked at Mara instead of the gold panel. Then I looked back at the boss. Titan strength. Core sight. Endless rebuild. 103 levels. My whole body wanted all of it, but I still did not know what two powerful authorities inside me would do at once. So I took the things I understood first. Titan strength. Core sight. The levels.
Levels salvaged. 103.
The plaza bent under my feet. Pain flashed through my spine. Then, regeneration swallowed it. My vision changed. The red crystal behind the boss suddenly filled with glowing lines. They were not cracks. They were connections. Energy ran from every tower, every street, and every monster corpse back into the dungeon core. Core sight. Every line led to the same crystal. Then, I selected claim.
Authority acquired.
My knees almost buckled. Cold pressure crushed down on my skull. No blood blocked part of it. Regeneration repaired what got through. I stayed standing. Mara's hand was still on my jacket. Her eyes widened. You did not fall. I am improving. That is what worries me.
Dungeon core compatibility found.
I looked at the massive red crystal. The black ring in my silver eye began spinning so fast, It looked solid. Mara saw my expression change. What now? I did not answer. I walked toward the core. The rest of the team followed at a distance. The closer I got, the stronger the system pressure became inside my head. It was not a voice. I simply knew the core was holding things the same way a dead monster held salvage. Mana, space, rules, the whole dungeon connected back to it. I placed my palm against the red crystal. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the world turned blue. Every building, every street, every bridge, every red vein in the sky, all of it gained the same glowing outline I had seen above dead monsters. It was too large to fit inside my vision.
Perfect salvage. Target detected.
I stopped breathing. The text changed.
New salvage type found. Dungeon property.
Mara stepped beside me. What do you see? I read the next line. Then, read it again.
Valid target. Entire dungeon.
Behind us, one of the S-ranks whispered, "Why is he smiling?" Mara did not look away from me, because something terrible for everyone else just became useful to him. She knew me too well already.
Available salvage. Red city structure. Core armor. Spatial anchor. Dungeon size.
I stared at the list. For years, nations had fought over gates. They measured monster materials by the ton. They built companies around cores, hide, blood, bone, and crystal. They sent their best hunters into dungeons because every clear meant money, power, and survival. And I had just found out that the dungeon itself was loot. The core pulsed under my hand. A warning flashed.
Core collapse in 0841.
Mara looked at the trembling city around us. Whatever you are doing, decide fast. I looked at stored mana, spatial anchor, dungeon size, then at the whole glowing city. My heart beat harder, not from fear, from the same feeling I had gotten in Black Cathedral when 23 dead monsters lit up around me. Only now, the target was measured in miles. I selected stored mana first. The core screamed. There was no other word for it. A sound rolled through the dungeon without coming from any mouth. Red light poured into my arm. The towers dimmed. The streets stopped pulsing. Every surviving hunter backed away.
Stored mana salvaged. Partial.
Power flooded into me until my teeth hurt. Red light raced up my arm and vanished under my skin. I released the core. The entire city dimmed at once. Then it shook. A red tower folded in the distance. The gate behind us began pulling at the air. Naomi's voice came through the earpiece, broken by static. "Josh, what did you do? Gate is shrinking." "Repeat, gate is shrinking." I looked at Mara. She looked at the dying city, then back at me. "You took something from it." "Yes." "The dungeon." "Yes." Her eyes slowly moved to the giant core. "How much?" I looked at the menu still floating in front of me. "Not enough." The floor split. "Move," Mara shouted. We ran. The collapse was faster than a normal cleared gate because I had removed part of what kept the dungeon alive. Red buildings folded into themselves. White bridges snapped. Black liquid rose from the channels and vanished into the cracking ground. Core sight showed me the shortest route back. "Left," I shouted. The team followed. A tower came down across the street. Mara raised both hands. Her halo flashed. The falling structure stopped for one impossible second.
Go.
Everyone ran under it. I stayed behind. Mara looked at me. "What are you doing?" "Returning the favor." I grabbed the bottom edge of the tower. Her eyes widened. I lifted. The structure weighed hundreds of tons. Titan strength burned through my arms. Stone screamed. Mara released her skill. The tower dropped into my hands. My boots punched through the street to the ankles. Both arms shook. The tower stopped. "Go," I said. Mara stared for half a second, then ran through. Once she cleared the gap, I threw the tower sideways. It crashed through 2 buildings. No one said anything after that. We reached the gate with less than 2 minutes on the collapse timer. The S ranks went through first. Mara stayed. Of course she did. "After you," I said. "No. Mara. Josh." The ground behind us disappeared. I looked at her. She looked at me. Then I grabbed her around the waist. Her eyes went wide. "What are you?" Predator step fired. We crossed the final distance together and hit the gate. The world flipped. We landed on the concrete floor of Transit Zone 7. I ended up on my back. Mara landed on top of me. For 1 second, neither of us moved. Her face was inches from mine. Silver hair had fallen loose around us. I could feel her breathing against my mouth. The blue halo was gone. The noise of soldiers, medics, alarms, and collapsing equipment seemed very far away. Mara looked down at me. "You could have warned me." I said move. That was not a warning. Her hand was flat against my chest. Neither of us moved it immediately. Then Naomi appeared beside us. She looked down. Her amber lens flickered. I assumed the dungeon did that. Mara stood so fast I almost laughed. I decided survival was worth more. I sat up. Behind Naomi, The gate had shrunk from 20 feet wide to less than 6, then 4, then 2. A final red pulse ran through it. The gate vanished. Every screen in the command station changed at once.
Gate closed.
No one cheered immediately. They were all looking at me. Naomi held up her slate. What did you do? I looked at my hand. A faint red light still moved under the skin. I salvaged part of the dungeon. The command station went silent. Naomi blinked once. Mara closed her eyes for half a second. One of the S ranks behind us whispered, "He can do what?" I stood. My legs felt steady. Too steady. The city above us was safe. The gate was gone. And somewhere inside me was power that had belonged to an entire dungeon 10 minutes earlier. For the first time since I was 16, a city had almost faced the same thing Chicago had faced. This time, I had been there. This time, the dungeon lost. Hours later, after the medics stopped trying to find injuries that had already healed, I sat on the edge of a federal hospital bed and watched dawn come through reinforced glass. Naomi stood in front of me with her silver slate. She had been silent for almost 30 seconds. That was longer than any lecture. Finally, she turned the screen around. A map of the city filled it. The red evacuation zone was shrinking. Buses were already turning around. Subway crews were waiting for federal engineers to clear the tunnels. No breach, Naomi said. I nodded. No civilian deaths. My chest tightened. I looked at the map again. How many were in the evacuation zone? Just over 1.2 million. The government had started moving more than 1 million people because of that gate. 1 million breakfast tables. 1 million families who had no idea how close the red thing under their streets had come to taking everything. Naomi tapped the slate again.
Current class, Salvager. Combat rank, unreadable. Level, unreadable. Dungeon mana, stored. New target, dungeon property.
I looked at the first line. Still Salvager. Naomi's mouth moved almost enough to count as a smile. Apparently. What happens now? Now every major hunter organization on Earth wants to know why an American F-rank support worker made an S-rank gate disappear. That sounds inconvenient. Japan requested a joint briefing 12 minutes ago. Germany requested test data. 2 private guilds offered you contracts large enough that I had to check whether the numbers were mistakes. Were they? No. I leaned back. 5 years ago, Titan Edge had negotiated my paydown because salvagers were easy to replace. Now countries were calling before sunrise. Naomi lowered the slate. You should understand something before this gets larger. I waited. The federal government can give you access, protection, information. We cannot make this ability ordinary. No, I do not think you do. Her amber lens brightened. Yesterday people argued about whether you were S-rank. They have already moved past that. I looked at my right hand. Faint red light still moved under the skin from the dungeon mana I had taken. What is the new question? Naomi looked toward the reinforced window. How many gates can you change before the rest of the world changes around you? She left me with that. Mara stood by the window. She had changed into a simple black shirt again. Her silver hair was tied loosely behind her neck. No halo, no blood, just Mara. Naomi had left 20 minutes earlier after saying 3 foreign governments had already requested information about the disappearing gate. I had laughed. She had not. Mara turned from the window. So did you. You changed the gate itself. That part was me. She walked closer. I expected a lecture. Instead, she sat beside me. Our shoulders touched. For a while, we'll watch the sunlight move over the glass towers outside. I thought about Chicago in there, I said. Mara did not ask what part. I continued anyway. When the evacuation alert came in, I could picture the table again. Her hand moved between us. Not grabbing, not dramatic. She just placed it over mine. Warm fingers, steady pressure. I looked down, then at her. Mara's eyes stayed on the window. You were there this time, she said. I closed my fingers around hers. Yeah. We stayed like that for a minute. No kiss, no joke. I did not need either. Mara finally looked at me. I stole a dungeon. I think I can survive breakfast. That is not how food works. You sound very sure. I have eaten before. I laughed quietly. For years, the word breakfast had pulled me back to orange juice on a Chicago table, and Emma reaching for jam before she finished her eggs. The memory still hurt. This time, it did not drag me under. A city was waking up outside. People were going home instead of becoming names on a memorial wall. For once, that was enough. Then my right eye burned. I looked toward the distant skyline. Far away, beyond the glass, a tiny red gate had opened over the river. My silver iris turned. The black ring spun once. A faint blue outline flashed around the gate, even from miles away.
Perfect salvage. Dungeon target detected.
I stood slowly. Mara followed my gaze. What now? I smiled. I can see the loot from here.